Today I'm going to be talking about a TikToker by the name of MrPrada. Some of you may know who MrPrada is, and some of you may not. And if you don't know who he is, MrPrada is a 20-year-old TikToker with a massive 4.4 million followers, who blew up off of making videos of himself doing random things and putting a caption over it. Well, at least that's how I'd describe his content. His content was a part of a whole era of TikTok, but he was one of the only ones to stay relevant after it died. And he was one of the only people to continue to do the same kind of content, which kept his views intact, so I don't blame him. Not much else is known about MrPrada, probably because it was one of those Charli D'Amelio situations where he blew up for doing basically nothing. But recently there's been some stuff going around about MrPrada that I'm sure most of you have seen, to be honest. And that's his involvement in the murder of a therapist. The victim being 69-year-old William Nicholas Abraham. Before his murder, William showed up at Terrion Thomas's, or MrPrada's, apartment at about 11 a.m. Saturday. After his visit to the apartment, he would never be seen again. Witnesses, who I'm assuming lived in the same apartment building, said they saw MrPrada dragging a blue tarp and loading it into Abraham's car, which they later realized was Abraham's body. The morning after his disappearance, Abraham's body was discovered along US 51 near Fluker in Tangipahoa Parish. After his body was discovered, Abraham's car, which is a Lincoln MKZ, was found by a license plate reader, with the driver being none other than MrPrada. And this is when MrPrada was officially labeled as a person of interest by police.
Good evening. First tonight, Baton Rouge police searching for this man, 20-year-old Terrion Thomas, in connection with the death of William Nicholas Abraham. We showed you these images last night after Tangipahoa deputies released photos of what they described as a person of interest in this case.
The day after MrPrada was spotted driving Abraham's stolen vehicle, he was spotted once again, but this time he was spotted by a police officer on patrol. The police officer obviously recognized the car and started chasing it down. The chase didn't last very long before the car crashed in a parking lot and the person driving ran away, which was identified as MrPrada. After the crash and getaway from the police, MrPrada called a family member to pick him up and take him home. The next day, that same unknown family member that picked MrPrada up called the police after finding out that MrPrada was involved with the case, and told them that MrPrada bought a bus ticket to Dallas where they eventually arrested him. Following his arrest came search warrants for his home, where police found massive amounts of blood and evidence of a possible homicide. The blood in MrPrada's apartment was tested, and it did turn out to be Abraham's blood in MrPrada's apartment. MrPrada was originally faced with a second-degree murder charge that was later changed to a first-degree murder charge, obstruction of justice, aggravated criminal damage to property, resisting an officer, and unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. After all this information was released to the public, TikTok commentators obviously hopped right on it.
There is officially a warrant that has just been issued out for MrPrada's arrest. This news was literally just released. It says up at the top here, the Banton Road Police Department obtained an arrest warrant for Terrion Thomas, a TikTok personality, aka MrPrada, in connection with the homicide of a 69-year-old Banton Road therapist, William Abraham. As all of you likely know, the entire day a lot of people are speculating if MrPrada was involved in the unaliving of a therapist. Some people thought he was, some people didn't think he was, but now we can put all that speculation aside because it is 100% confirmed that MrPrada was involved, and Louisiana police are currently looking for him right now to make an arrest.
But with this information reaching TikTok came the theories and just straight up rumors about the situation. The first major theory about this situation was MrPrada himself saying that his therapist, which was Abraham, allegedly touched a minor back in 2015. When MrPrada said this, people started to do some deep digging into this allegation, and it turns out that this allegation was actually true. Abraham ended up making headlines for this back in 2015 and was eventually charged with molestation.
Abraham made headlines 9 years ago, back in 2015. Here's a clip from a newscast back then.
A Baton Rouge therapist is under investigation
He was charged with child molestation, with police saying an 11-year-old patient claimed Abraham had touched him inappropriately during a therapy session.
And this is pretty much where the biggest theory started, because people started to do some deep digging into this case as well. And they found out that at the same time as this accusation, the age of the victim, which was 11 years old, was the same age as MrPrada at the time. So people began to think that maybe the victim was MrPrada in this 2015 case. But just when everyone thought they solved it, an attorney who represented Abraham in the case confirmed that the alleged victim was not MrPrada, which put an end to that theory, but also prompted people to start spreading rumors instead. I said people, but it's more like one specific guy that was posting rumors after MrPrada's arrest, and the biggest rumor he was trying to spread was that MrPrada was shanked and killed in prison.
MrPrada was just shanked and killed in jail just a couple hours ago. This is like the newest update so far. He is literally on life-threatening conditions right now and probably will not make it. So yeah.
One thing I noticed about this video is that he says MrPrada was shanked and killed, but right after that he says he's in critical condition, which doesn't make any sense. Either way, MrPrada is not dead, but with this upgrade in his murder charge, he is actually eligible for the death penalty, which this same guy seems to love lying about too.
MrPrada will be getting the death penalty in 7 days. Guys, there is only 7 days left for MrPrada to be alive. As you all know, he committed second-degree murder and he is now in jail. And while he's still awaiting trial, they still decided to put him on the death row. If you know what the death row is, it's basically for all like the worst criminals that get executed after a certain amount of time.
Now that I'm actively looking at this guy's page while making this video, this is literally all he does. He just announces the death of any person remotely popular at the time for no reason. And just to make sure you guys believe me, here's a video of MrPrada showing up to court very alive. But anyways, the last thing I'm going to be talking about is something people started to point out after MrPrada took the life of his therapist, and it's the signs of very bad mental health. So after the murder, people began to start looking through MrPrada's TikTok page, and they realized on some of his posts he didn't seem very happy with life, and just didn't seem like he was in the right state of mind anymore. Here's some clips from his recent TikTok videos to show you what I mean.
Don't do anything drastic unless you want to look like this. The prison, get me the out. Like, I just woke up yesterday. I woke up yesterday. I looked at the ceiling. I said, ah! I got bipolar. I'm bipolar. Yeah. Y'all never seen anybody that's bipolar before? See, I was trying to hide it, but it just slipped out. I was almost perfect. But now I have to start over. I got to start from scratch.
Just by watching those clips, you can tell MrPrada was on a very bad mental health decline that only seemed to get worse daily, which could be the or one reason why he decided to take the life of Abraham. But I'm not the one to say why he did it or what made him do it until the real information is released. But it seems very likely that his mental health problems got the best of him. Anyways, that's all you need to know about the MrPrada case. And by the way, I know my upload schedule is horrible and I can't promise it'll get any better. Either way, thank you guys for watching.
We did it! Yay! We did it!
No DJ Khaled, but we the best. Them chops howling, where you a best. If I catch you, I'm locking you down.